It's a real story. The true horror of Hawthorn Mental Hospital. The screen flickers to life, revealing Claire, an aspiring YouTuber with a captivating presence. Hey everyone. Today, I'm sharing something terrifying. A real-life ghost story from Hawthorn Mental Hospital. You won't believe what I experienced. As she prepares to recount her adventure, the camera captures her blend of excitement and anxiety. Claire hints at strange occurrences, urging viewers to stick around. An unsettling feeling lingers in the air as she promises chilling revelations. This isn't just a spooky tale. It's my story, and it's going to haunt you. With anticipation, she gives a glimpse of old newspaper clippings and ominous building shots, setting the stage for her harrowing journey. The composition of background music deepens the tension, suggesting that something sinister lurks just beneath the surface. She feels a thrill, but a part of her senses a foreboding echo from the past. As the intro fades, the live footage shifts to the hospital exterior, a ruin of despair, preparing viewers for the chills to come. Just a week before her adventure, Claire receives a casual text from her old college friend, Mark. Hey, up for an adventure? Heard Hawthorn's abandoned and haunted. Excitement bubbles in Claire as she types. She remembers campus ghost stories and the allure of investigating them firsthand. Claire replies, absolutely. When do we go? The thrill of filming a ghost hunting expedition floods her with adrenaline, perfect for her growing YouTube channel. The place has a dark reputation, and Claire's skeptical nature makes it all the more intriguing. She envisions trending video ideas filled with spooky evidence and daring explorations. We'll show everyone that there's no such thing as ghosts, she muses, eagerly anticipating the thrill. Despite her logical mind, a strange feeling tugs at her conscience. A warning perhaps, but one she brushes aside. Planning their gear and camera setup, Claire assures herself it'll be an exhilarating night. Little does she realize, her journey into darkness will unveil more than just spectral illusions. The morning of adventure arrives, and Claire feels an energizing thrill coursing through her. As they reach Hawthorn Mental Hospital, the atmosphere shifts. Squinting against the sun, she films the imposing, graffiti-covered structure looming ahead. This is it. Look at this place. It's like a horror movie set, she exclaims, excitement mingling with the shadow of unease. Mark looks uneasy, glancing at the crumbling facade and shattered windows. What if it's really haunted? He half jokes. As they approach, an inexplicable chill washes over Claire, causing goosebumps to prickle her skin. Each footstep echoes against the hollow building like a heartbeat, quickening a sense of foreboding. We just have to stick together, Claire reassures Mark, though the knot in her stomach tightens. She sets up her camera, ready to initiate their quest with a heavily laced commentary of haunted history. Little do they realize, the darkness inside will test their friendship and courage. Taking a deep breath, Claire leads the way into the abyss, camera rolling. Entering the hospital, Claire is struck by how time seems to stand still. Dust coats every surface, and the air feels suffocatingly thick. Welcome to our nightmare, she jokes, trying to lighten the mood. They step cautiously through the dimly lit hall. As shadows flicker on the walls, Claire shivers. Her heart pounds in rhythm with her anticipation. It's quieter than I expected, she whispers, her voice barely breaking the eerie silence. They explore abandoned rooms, each filled with remnants of despair, rusted medical instruments, and peeling wallpaper crying out. Forgotten stories. Mark jokes nervously, but Claire can feel the weight of the past pressing down on them. As darkness settles deeper, strange noises echo through the hall, soft thuds, and distant whispers that seem to call her name. Did you hear that? Claire asks, eyes wide with trepidation, but Mark dismisses it as rats scuttling. The air grows heavier, and Claire wonders if they've disturbed something that shouldn't be awakened, setting a tone of dread for what lies ahead. As they explore deeper, Claire becomes increasingly aware of the whispers around her, soft, haunting voices. It's probably just the wind, she says, trying to reassure herself, but her heart races nonetheless. Mark continues exploring an exam room, but Claire can't shake off the feeling that their presence is unwelcome. It's like the walls are alive, listening to us, she mutters. Suddenly, she feels a cold breeze sweep past her, sending chills down her spine. She brushes it off, forcing a laugh, but the whispering only grows louder, filling her ears. We should split up and cover more ground, she suggests to Mark, but he hesitates. Are you sure that's a good idea? He protests. Undeterred, Claire presses on, driven by a mix of curiosity and fear. As she steps into a nearby examination room, the whispers crescendo, almost pleading. Despite herself, she feels drawn to their haunting tones, standing on the brink of something terrifying, yet irresistible, a temptation to understand the unknown. Claire pushes open a heavy door, revealing a room littered with syringes and discarded medical instruments. The chilling atmosphere sends a shiver through her veins. This is where they treated patients, she remarks, unable to hide her apprehension. Scattered papers flutter in her wake as a faint breeze whips through the room. She spots a grotesque art piece on the wall, distorted faces melded together. Who would create something like this? She whispers, her voice echoing. Mark approaches, looking deeply unsettled. It's just a bunch of old junk, he mutters, though his eyes dart nervously around the room. As Claire films the horror in front of her, she catches a faint glimmer of movement in the corner, a shadow peeking from behind the door frame. Heart pounding, she quickly pivots the camera, but it's gone. Did you see that? She asks, excitement overshadowed by dread. Mark shakes his head. Maybe it's just our imagination. But doubt lingers, and Claire's fascination battles with an overwhelming sense of danger. Amidst the chaos, Claire discovers a dilapidated journal tucked away in a corner. Its pages, yellowed with age, detail terrifying experiences of a past patient named Elena. Look at this, she urges, flipping through entries filled with despair and survival. She writes about hearing whispers at night and the shadows in the walls. She pauses, heart racing, as she reads about the shadow, a tormentor that preyed on patients' fears. Mark inches closer, peering over her shoulder, intrigued yet wary. It sounds like a ghost story, he comments, but Claire's mind races as she reads Elena's final entry. The shadow watches all. It hungers for despair. A chill runs down her spine. The remnants of Elena's hellish experience seep through her, mingling with the oppressive air. We need to be careful, she whispers, dawning realization hitting her. Heavy in Claire's hands, a pressing reminder of the darkness that existed within these walls, igniting her curiosity yet amplifying her fears. Claire's heart races as they delve deeper into the haunting hospital, each creaking floorboard echoing with menace. Suddenly, a loud bang crashes from a nearby room, and they both jump. What was that? Mark almost yells, sweat beading on his brow. Claire scans the area, feeling a primal urge to uncover the source of the noise. Let's check it out, she insists, fighting the rising trepidation pooling in her gut. Reluctantly, Mark follows. They tiptoe closer, the dark corridor stretching before them like the gaping maw of an unseen creature. As Claire peers around the doorframe, she catches a glimpse of something dark scurrying away. Did you see that? She gasps. Mark squints, his features taut with fear. It's probably just the wind, he whispers back, but Claire feels the unease swell in her chest. No, it was something else. She turns the camera toward the room, capturing both their unease and anticipation. They exchange fearful glances, the shadows around them thickening, as uncertainty begins to compound. Time eludes them as they wander deeper into the hospital, reality warping in unseen ways. Their flashlights flicker ominously, casting long shadows on the walls. Something feels off. Mark murmurs, gripping his flashlight tighter. Claire nods, glancing at the watch she almost forgot to check. We've been here too long. The air grows heavy, suffocating them with its weight. Each corner they turn feels like a slow descent into despair, shadows stretching and warping. Claire's nerves fray. She hears incoherent whispers mingling with the wind, warping her perception. The darkness seems to pulse, alive with despair and sorrow. "Let's head back," she urges, glancing nervously down a cramped hallway, filled with splintered furniture. Mark hesitates, increasingly unsure, his eyes darting. "Just a little longer, please," Claire begs. She grips his shoulder, trying to anchor them both. "We just need a few more shots." But as she pushes forward, a lingering foreboding surrounds them, a warning that the hospital is a predator and its prey, hunting. Suddenly, the layout of the hospital seems to unravel. The halls twist and turn like a labyrinth, disorienting Claire and Mark as they realize they can't retrace their steps. Panic rises in Claire's chest. "Where are we?" she whispers, adrenaline pumping. Mark pulls out his phone to use the flashlight, but it flickers and dies. "Damn it," he curses under his breath. They navigate the corridors, fear pooling in their stomachs, footsteps echoing loudly in the silence. "We need to find a way out," Mark exclaims, his voice tinged with desperation. Claire tries to remain calm, focused on her sense of direction. "Let's go this way," she suggests, leading Mark down a narrow path. But every turn leads them to another empty room or shadowy corner, heightening their anxiety. Muffled cries drift through the air, sending shivers down Claire's spine. "This isn't right," she whispers, dread setting in. As their chestnut panic swells, Claire realizes the shadows in the building are closing in, growing darker with every step. While wandering through an unlit corridor, Claire finds herself in a long hallway lined with photographs of past patients. Each framed face stares hauntingly at them, evoking a profound sorrow. "Look at these people," Claire remarks, raising her camera to capture the despair. Frozen in time. They were real. She studies their expressions, fear, sadness, longing. It's like they're trapped in the walls, their very essences lingering in the air. The whispers return louder, this time intertwining with Claire's thoughts. Mark shifts nervously beside her. "This is too creepy," he mutters, eyeing a particularly sorrowful photo. Suddenly, the lights flicker overhead, causing shadows to dance unnaturally across the walls. Claire feels a deep chill slide down her spine as if the spirits of the past reach out for them. She can't shake the feeling that the patients are trying to share their stories. They want to be remembered, she insists, hoping to capture the moment. As echoes linger in the air, they become aware that the darkness might be more than just remnants of history. They venture into an examination room where dust-coated instruments lie scattered, remnants of a twisted past. Claire's attention drifts to a cracked mirror on the wall. Stepping closer, she gazes into its murky surface. To her horror, she sees more than just her reflection. She catches a glimpse of a shadowy figure standing behind her. Heart racing, she spins around, only to find nothing. "Mark, did you see that?" She feels a cold dread creep through her. Mark shakes his head, looking skeptical. "It's just a reflection, Claire. You're overreacting." But Claire's skin pricks with unwanted goosebumps. Something feels profoundly wrong. She returns to the mirror, squinting. Her distorted self seems to gaze back with sorrowful eyes, as if pleading for help. "It's trying to tell me something," Claire mutters, entranced, while Mark tries to pull her back to reality. "You're just scaring yourself," he insists. But Claire senses a deep connection, a call from the fragments of tortured souls trapped within the hospital's walls, unveiling their haunted spirits, still crying for acknowledgement. Deeper within the tortured halls, they stumble upon an old nurse's station, cluttered with faded files and ancient records. Dust swirls in the air as Claire rummages through the relics of the past, uncovering more journals filled with patient accounts and treatment practices. "These are terrible," Mark whispers, flipping through the pages filled with torment and despair. Suddenly, they notice a shadowy figure perched in the corner, a faint silhouette barely visible. Mark's heart races. Do you see it? He gasps, pointing. It's just the shadows. Claire reassures him, weakly, unnerved by the sudden chill that envelopes her. When she turns back to the nurses' station, her breath hitches. The figure is gone. Convinced they aren't alone, Claire begins to feel the weight of the darkness closing in on them. We need to leave, Mark urges, voice shaking. But Claire feels inexplicably drawn toward the area, believing there's a deeper truth buried beneath the surface. The lingering dread deepens. Something sinister stirs as they awaken. Secrets better left undisturbed. Claire leads Mark deeper into the abyss, and a faint voice suddenly calls out, whispering her name. It's alluring yet terrifying, echoing through the empty halls. What is that? Mark asks, looking bewildered as Claire turns toward the sound, an inexplicable desire propelling her forward. It's calling me, she replies, conflicted. Just beyond an archway, shadows flicker at the edges of her vision. She hesitates, feeling a mix of fear and allure. This isn't just the wind. It's someone crying for help, Claire insists, heart pounding. She knows she shouldn't move further, but curiosity overwhelms her instincts. Mark grips her wrist tight. Don't go alone, he pleads, but Claire feels compelled to follow the sound, desperately wanting to understand its source. I can't just ignore it, she argues, pushing forward into Claire's the shadows. Legs move spontaneously. Mark's unease deeper toward the source of the eerie tangible calling. Heaviness. She turns there around them, corner and sees a locked door labeled isolation. Without thinking, she peeks through a small window. Frantically, her blood runs cold. She sees the shadowy figure clearly now. It's ethereal. Form blurs like smoke, stretching toward her with a beckoning gesture. Fear consumes her senses. Mark, she shouts, stumbling backward. I saw it. The shadow. Mark rushes to her side, confused and terrified. There's nothing there, he cries, scanning the empty room. Claire feels drawn to the silhouette, knowing it represents pain and suffering. The door suddenly shakes. The sound echoes like tortured cries plead to be freed. We need to get out now, Mark urges, adrenaline pumping. But Claire is frozen in place, entranced by the darkness, despite the warnings echoing in her mind. She feels the walls pulse around them, sensing the buildings. Intention, a desperate invitation for them to remain, entangled in the eternal sorrow of the unknown. In a moment of panic, they separate in an effort to escape the shadow, but Claire quickly finds herself alone in a dark corridor. The oppressive silence surrounds her as her heart races faster, each pulse thrumming like a drumbeat of terror. Mark, she calls, voice quavering, but all she hears is her echo fading away. Shadows stretch across the walls, closing in around her. Panic surges. Her instincts scream at her to find Mark, the darkness breathing heavily on her neck. She grips the flashlight, its beam providing little comfort in the thickening gloom. I need to find him, she whispers to herself, moving cautiously through the darkened halls. Every creak and groan of the building turns her blood cold, and she feels eyes watching her from the shadows. Claire's breath quickens as she senses an unsettling presence lurking nearby. Please just let this be a nightmare, she pleads, feeling increasingly isolated as doubt gnaws at her, asking if they should have ventured in at all. Claire rounds a corner, heart pounding, and suddenly faces the shadow head-on. It looms, large, a shifting mass that seems to absorb all light, an embodiment of despair that stretches impossibly across the room. The air feels electric. She's paralyzed with terror. Wisps of darkness encircle her, whispering words she can't grasp. You're not meant to be here, the shadow seems to say. Go back. Claire's instincts clash with the shadows wrapping around her, an alluring temptation that catches her breath. She summons the courage to scream for Mark, the sound swallowed by the oppressive darkness. The shadow inches closer, its form pulsating with a sinister energy. Leave. You don't belong, it hisses, cold wisps brushing against her skin. Claire shakes her head defiantly, I won't be afraid, she yells back, fighting against the dread. Encasing her. A rush of adrenaline surges as she grasps the flashlight and shines it directly at the specter, hoping to push back the tide of darkness, threatening to consume her. They stumble into a large room filled with old toys and belongings that once belonged to patients. In the dim light, Claire feels the somber memories entwine within the air. Look at these, she whispers, holding up a frayed teddy bear. Traces of lost souls. Mark's eyes soften. Momentarily. It's heartbreaking, he replies, recognizing the weight of what had once existed. Here, the room seems to breathe with energy, and Claire realizes the darkness attached itself to those objects, binding memories of suffering. The faint whispers continue, persistent and pleading, cloaking them in a shroud of sorrow. They need to be remembered, Claire insists. Urgency creeping in. As they explore the remnants, something shifts. Shadows dance across the walls, becoming animated, as if reflecting the turmoil of the past. Are they trying to tell us something? Mark asks, fear creeping back in. Claire feels a connection, a longing within her. Hard to help them. She refuses to let their stories fade into the darkness, but the encroaching shadows feel like a warning, a plea to leave before it's too late. The memories of lost souls weigh heavily on Claire and Mark, igniting a desire to uncover the truth behind the whispers and the forest of shadows surrounding them. As Claire sifts through old medical charts, they discover twisted accounts of cruel treatments administered within these walls. This is terrible, she murmurs in disbelief, flipping through pages of inhumane treatments designed to voluntarily silence the patients and their pain. Mark's face pales, concern replacing curiosity. It's like a nightmare. What were they thinking? He whispers, feeling the shadows delving deeper into his thoughts. Claire can sense a growing darkness, manifesting nearby, something sinister resonating with each turn of a page. Look, Elena wrote, about the shadow, a being that thrives on fear and anguish, she says, voice trembling. The longer they stay, the more alive the shadows seem, hunger radiating from their depths. We need to go, Mark insists, eyes darting as panic bubbles. But as they turn to leave, palpable energy pulses through the air, suggesting something is awakening. A dreadful connection after coaxing Mark to his feet. They stumble deeper into the bowels of the hospital, uncertainty clouding their minds. They navigate through the remnants of medical history machines, designed for misery. Look at these notes, Claire breathes, examining charts revealing inhumane experiments. They stumble onto a treatment room, each clipboard detailing patients' failed attempts to escape their torment. A shiver runs down Claire's spine as she reads through the notes detailing the shadow's influence over the patients, ensuring their despair remains eternal. Is this what we're facing? Mark asks, fear dancing in his eyes. These are echoes of torment, like ghosts trapped in their own suffering. As Claire scans the room, she cannot ignore the suffocating presences awakening around them, dark energies swirling, urging her to flee. The darkness doesn't just haunt the past, it thrives on fear, she realizes, her heart racing. We need to escape before it consumes us. Their resolve solidified, Claire and Mark cling to each other, determined to escape the horrors that threatened to entrap them forever. With fear gripping them tightly, they turn back, hoping to find an exit. Panic amplifies the sense of urgency, but the hospital seems to shift, hallways warping and changing, as if the very structure conspires against them. This place is a maze, Claire exclaims, breathless as they scramble through darkened corridors. Entrances to rooms turn to walls, shadows flicker, teasingly, pulling them back into the depths. The whispers become deafening now, a cacophony of despair feeding on their mounting dread. Keep moving, Mark urges, his voice strained. They race against time, shadows swirling like a hungry tide. Claire feels the weight of capture, pressing down, threatening to claim them, just as they think they've found a way out there. Met with an impenetrable wall of darkness, a barrier refusing passage. No, Claire screams, despair gearing into frantic panic. With newfound resolve, they push back against the darkness, fighting against its lure. We won't let the shadows take us. Mark declares, heart racing as they press on, determined to break free from the grasp of the malevolent entity. Whirling and dark energy pulsating dangerously, Claire and Mark feel the weight of the past pressing down on them. The darkness isn't just an enemy, it's the embodiment of their suffering, Claire cries, igniting a drive within her. They never got to share their pain. Mark grips her hand firmer, together redirecting the growing turmoil surrounding them. Let's help them, he shouts, voice determined as they face the tempest. In a brave act, they lift their flashlights high, transforming their fear into a beacon of resilience. We remember you, Claire declares, channeling her compassion outward. As their voices bridge the gap between the living and the lost, the shadows pulse and twist, beginning to reveal glimpses of the tortured souls trapped within. They cry out for freedom, and a light blooms between Claire and Mark, shimmering hope igniting amidst despair. Together, they raise their voices, honoring the pain that once trapped the souls. In a powerful moment, they vow to break the chain, giving those trapped a chance for peace, and turning their own fear into a celebration of liberation. As the shadows unleash a deafening scream, Claire and Mark feel the surge of dark energy clashing against their resolve. They stand firm, united in their mission to save both themselves and the trapped souls around them. We won't leave you behind, Mark's Claire's determined shout, echoing through the chaos. The shadows recoil, momentarily weakened by the united force of light and compassion. But as darkness thickens, oppressive energy strains against their push. It's fighting back. Mark warns, panic flickering in his eyes. Claire realizes this is their moment, the final confrontation. We break this cycle, she cries, drawing upon every ounce of strength. It ends with us. In a desperate surge of energy, they push against the darkness, flashes of light radiating from their hearts. The spirits join in, guided by Claire's conviction, amplifying strength into a burst of pure energy. The shadows wail, pain and despair tangled in those cries, as they struggle against the collective force rallying against them. Claire and Mark close their eyes, focusing on unity, determination, and compassion, preparing for a final act of defiance. With a final, cathartic scream that reverberates throughout the hospital, the black tide of shadows shatters around them in a brilliant explosion of light, revealing the spirits of the lost souls that had once been bound by despair. Claire and Mark stand, hearts racing as the light envelopes them, scattering the darkness temporarily. As the shimmering energy settles, the spirits form fleeting silhouettes filled with gratitude. Tears stream down Claire's face, touched by their freedom as she takes in the gravity of their struggles. We did it, she breathes, but doubt clings to the edges of her mind. What if they come back? Mark asks, breathless. The air still feels cold, their respite fleeting, and Claire feels the lingering weight of the lost around them. 5 moments stretch uncomfortably in silence until they gather their strength and turn toward the exit. We can't stay here, Mark urges gently, grounding them. They wobble back towards the entrance, feeling the spirits behind them lingering as echoes of lost hope. But with each step toward freedom, their hearts throb with uncertainty, emerging from the hospital as dawn breaks. Claire and Mark gasp for the fresh air that feels alive compared to the stagnant heaviness clinging to their beings within. We made it. Mark exhales in disbelief and relief, but a sense of dread gnaws at Claire. She turns back, glancing at the haunted structure, realizing the battle may have been won, but not without consequences. Later that day, while editing footage for her channel, Claire feels a sudden chill wash over her. Just one more clip, she decides, viewing raw footage from earlier. As she rewinds to capture their final moments in the hospital, an unsettling form flickers in the background of their frames, a shadowy figure, watching quietly. Claire freezes, heart pounding, while goosebumps spread across her skin, realizing their escape hasn't come without a price. An icy thought pierces her: the darkness they fought might have followed them, lingering like an unwanted guest. As night falls, Claire locks her door, finding herself haunted by the echoes of that night, contemplating the thin line between the living and the realm of shadows, forever changed.